are first going to be talking about the different types of slides that we will be using for the LCM. The first slide that we have is a traditional glass slide that should be cleaned and that should have nothing on it whatsoever. The second slide that we're looking at is a metal slide that is very specific for the LCM. This metal slide has a membrane covering on one side where the tissue is mounted. And it is very important that you handle this slide with care because the membrane itself is actually quite fragile and you don't want to be disrupting or contaminating your tissue sample. So to tell which side of the metal slide has the membrane, you want to look at this corner right here of the slide. If it has the membrane on it, you can actually see a membrane or cellophane-like substance covering the metal. Whereas if you turn it around, this side is all metal with no covering whatsoever. Another way to tell is looking at the metal side. This is the back side of it, and you can actually run your finger behind it. And you can actually feel the ridges between the membrane and the metal. Looking at it horizontally, like on a plane, you can actually see the ridges as well. So that's how you know that the membrane is going to be on the other side. So to orient these two slides, we're going to start with the glass slide. Then we're going to put the metal slide with the tissue side down so that's facing the glass slide. And we put it together, causing like a slide sandwich. So what we have now is this metal slide and this glass slide put together where our tissue is going to be between these two slides. So to clarify again, you're going to see metal first, and then the membrane, and then the tissue, and then the glass slide, so that the tissue itself is nicely sandwiched between these two slides. And now that we have these two slides put together, we can place this into our LCM and begin cutting. So this is the LCM machine that we have right here, and in order to turn it on, there are two boxes to the left of the machine. You just click on this button right here, and then you click on this button right here to activate or turn on the machine. And then we must turn on the computer that is attached to this machine. So what we do is we click this button for the on button on the computer in order to turn on this computer. So now we need to look at the program that we'll be using. So we're going to be using this program that's found on the desktop. It should say the MMI Cell Tools. So please click on this and it will bring up the program that we are going to be using. And it should take a few seconds for this to load up, but then you should see a blank gray screen and a ton of functions on the right hand side. So to get started, what we're going to do is we're going to actually take the slides that we just prepared right here and we're going to place it into the machine. So in order to do that, we want to make sure that the sandwich is placed correctly, and then we're going to put it into these little legs right here of this microscope. And what I like to do is I like to just drop it in here and attach it and latch it with this latch right here. Secure it with this latch right here so that it's unable to be moved. So now that our slides are placed, we can start looking at it through this computer screen. So as you can see right here, we can tell that this is our tissue sample. So what we have to do first is that we go to our magnification and we change it to 4 magnification. So now that it's at 4 magnification, we can clearly see our tissue sample, and we're going to try to find the left-hand corner of our slide. So in order to find the left-hand corner, we're going to go down to this box right here on the lower right-hand corner of your computer screen and click on this left-hand corner. So this box right here is basically representative of the slide that we put in our microscope. So we're going to adjust this now until we see the left upper corner of the slide. And remember, when we're doing these types of slides on this computer for these microscopes, our down button will cause the membrane to move up, while our up button will cause our membrane to move down. And the same goes for left and right. So as you can see, this is the upper left hand corner, and what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the membrane piece adjacent to this corner. And what we're going to do now is focus it by going to this focus knob right here and going completely out of focus by going clockwise first and then trying to focus just on the membrane, not on the glass slide. So we can tell what the membrane is because if we go completely out of focus, the first thing that we come into focus with should be the membrane. So this should be the membrane. In order to set our focus, we're going to hit F8 and that should set our focus. To show you that this is the membrane, not the glass slide, we can continue focusing and you should see that this should get more and more speckled and that should be representative of the glass. And now it's completely out of focus because now the focus is beyond the glass. So again, this is glass and this is membrane. So glass has more dots than the membrane. So again, you just have to be very careful that you choose to focus on the membrane, not the glass. So again, we push F8 to define our focus, and then what we're going to do is go to this function right here, and we're going to define our top left origin. So now what we're going to do is click the bottom right and do the same thing, which is defining our bottom right origin. So again, I'm searching for the edges, so the corner of the slide, using just the arrow functions on our keyboard. So there we go, sorry. And then now we're going to focus on this slide so that we only see the membrane. So again, we're going to go clockwise out of focus. And the first thing that we're going to come into focus with is going to be our membrane. So this will be our membrane right here. F8. Again, if I go more counterclockwise, you're going to see more dark specks on it, and that's actually the glass. You can see it's grainy texture. So if you go up a little more, that should give you the membrane. Then we hit F8, and then we're going to go to define an origin, go to define bottom right. So now as you can see, this region has been defined the upper left and the bottom right. And we can't see our slide still on here, so what we're going to do is take a picture or take a scan of what the slide looks like. And we're going to click this select area button, and we're going to select however much area our sample takes up, and then we're going to hit scan. As you can see, it's taking a nice picture of our slide, and from there we have like our own little navigation map. So now that we have this little navigation map, what we're going to do is test our laser focus or our laser position. To begin that, we're going to change this magnification to 20 times and then refocus if needed. So I'm just going to click a region of our tissue just so we can see if it's in focus. And as we can clearly see, it is still in focus. So now to test our laser, we must first turn it on using this box right here. We're going to turn the key clockwise and tap that button that says laser on. So now that our laser is on, we're going to go to an empty region that I'm going to double click to move to. And we're going to test our laser. And this is our green target. This is where our laser is going to hit. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the starburst button, which should fire one single shot at this target. And as you can see, this is a burn mark that has been made and is directly within on the target. So we're going to try that again. This is the target. I'm going to click open for the laser, and this is what happens. We have a burn mark nicely made. So now we're going to adjust the laser focus and the laser power. We're not going to adjust the cut velocity because that should be around the same, and that only determines how fast our laser is moving. Our laser focus and our laser power will change according to A, the type of tissue we use, and B, the type of magnification that we are using. So this has been previously set for 20 times magnification, but it is good to also double check. To double check, we go to this pen function right here, and we're basically going to draw a very long squiggly line to test what our optimal laser focus and laser power is. Be sure that these two boxes are not checked when you're testing. So now that we are set on this pen function, you can either use your mouse to draw, or I'm going to be using this pen. And so I'm going to be drawing this long squiggly line on the screen. The longer the better, because it'll give you more time to test what the optimal laser focus and laser power is. So now I'm going to be clicking cut, and we should see our laser cutting nicely through this membrane. As you can see, there's a little bit of white space every time it cuts, and that is exactly what we want. We can adjust the laser focus by moving it and the laser power so that the slightest bit of white shows through. If you adjust the laser focus too much, you can actually see that the laser will start skipping, and that is not what we want. So you want to be very careful, like right here. So if we go back to where we were earlier, as you can see, there's a nice thin white line in between the cut, and that is exactly what we want. So now that we know this is good, we can stop it right here. We can right click and then delete our selected drawing so that it does not recut it. So now we know our laser is in focus and the laser power is correct, and we can move on to actually collecting our tissue sample. So moving back to here, I plan on cutting at 20 magnification because I want to get slightly bigger sections that would not be possible if I were using the 40 magnification. So now that our cap is placed on, we're going to go back here and we're going to have to readjust our focus. As you can see, this got blurry again. So what I'm going to do is focus it and then hit F8. And now we're going to place the cap down and readjust the focus. So to put the cap down, we just click cap down. And as you can see, it's very, very blurry. So what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing it again. It's cap down, and we're going to hit F8. And then we're going to do cap up again. Hit the same function. It's blurry again, so we're going to focus. And we're going to hit F8, and then we're going to hit F3. And this should say Z drive offset for cap defined successfully. So this will ensure that next time you change between cap down and cap up, we will not have to redo the focus. So I like to cut with the cap down for the first few cuts and then cap up for the rest of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some circular cuts just by clicking the circle and just drawing out some circles that I want to be cutting. So our cap is down, our circles are made, so now all we have to hit is cut. And as you can see, this laser is cutting the circular piece out quite nicely, and while it's cutting, you also see that it remains in focus. If it does not remain in focus, you have to readjust your focus for both your laser and for your microscope. So you can see two nice cuts have been made, and we're going to collect them now by clicking cap up. So when we click cap up, this should take out the two pieces quite nicely. To see where these pieces have gone, I'm going to be clicking just an empty region right here. And then I'm going to drop our cap. And we should be seeing the pieces that we earlier cut. So these two pieces right here are the ones we just cut, and these two are from previous times. So our pieces are nicely collected right here, and we're able to now do cap up and collect our tissue samples from our tube. So say if we go back to our previous region and something does not cut properly and you want to recut it, what can we do? We can go to statistics right here and go to whatever group we're in. So we were doing group 1, and we can click which ones we want to recut again. For example, I only want to cut the second or the last circle, circle number 3 again. So I'm only going to check circle number 3. So if I hit cut, it's going to move back to where we just were. So this is circle number 3, which, as you can see, we've already collected it. But if I wanted to cut it again, I can just tell the machine to cut number 3 again. And again, all these circles are numbered, or all these shapes that we make are numbered. So this is number 2, and this is number 3. So once you collected everything you want, you can just take off the tube and you're good to go. So that's basically it in terms of cutting and collecting for the LCM. Thank you.